had a friend ask me what was my motivation to begin semen retention. How did it all start? What convinced me to go into uncharted territory and begin the process of disciplining myself? I'll be speaking a little bit about that in this video. So my journey retaining my sexual energy, it began in September of 2022. At the time I suppose I'd seen a couple of semen retention YouTube videos at the time, and it kind of sparked my interest. The usual talking points were, it'll make you more attractive to the opposite sex. Interesting. Another one was, it'll make you more confident. Sounds good. Another one was, you will learn how to respect yourself. Sounds great. So that was the basic types of narratives that was presented to me at the time. And I was a person who, all three of those ideas, that sounded good to me, you know. So it took a little bit of convincing to begin with, because as we all know, you don't know that something is a vice in your life until you try to stop. And then you quickly realize, wow, maybe I was dependent on that certain thing. So 2022, September, I had already put in my resignation for the job that I was working at the time. So I had 3 weeks until I was leaving this old job. And at that old job, I was friendly with a certain girl. And in terms of looks, I reckon this girl is probably the first girl that I've met in my life that I could honestly say, wow, she is right up there. I reckon a 9 in terms of the scale that everyone uses. Yeah, she was just naturally beautiful. And the thing is that she knew it too. So, often girls like that, they kind of have to be humbled a bit in order to keep them, to stop them themselves. Let's just say that. And yeah. So me and this girl, like, we were always very friendly. Yeah, I think we had a little connection. However, it was something that it never would have manifested into anything because yeah, at the time she was in a relationship, so like, we were friendly, but I kind of respected that. Now the reason why I chose, well, so 3 weeks before I quit this job, I was driving home from work one day, and I just made a decision. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I've got 3 weeks left, and then I probably will never see this girl again. And remember, I said all of those semen retention videos. They talk about, like, it'll make women attractive. It'll make you attractive to women, and all that stuff. It'll make you more confident. And in my mind, I was thinking, I want her to remember me as someone that was attractive and confident, happy. And that's kind of what drove me to take the plunge in the beginning. And sure enough, I did it. I made the decision. And those a couple of weeks, I felt good. I was at a good level. So I was glad that I was able to leave on a high note. Let's just say that. So that was my initial motivation. It kind of gets you through the initial stages, because at this stage of the journey you don't really know what is to come, because you haven't had that personal experience. The only thing you can go by is by what other people say. And although people may have similar experiences with it, they do vary in certain ways. So there probably isn't one size fits all type of deal. And another thing that happened is that when I started my new job, I was already on the journey. So I had already started. So basically, I was able to do the job interview like that. I felt really, really good in the job interview. And I noticed in the job interview, I was a lot more comfortable and confident than I usually was. And I felt that was quite interesting. So sure enough, I got the job. And then from that point onwards, if you start working at a new place, there is often quite a lot to learn in a short amount of time. And that's kind of where I was able to transmute my sexual energy into into at that time. I just put it all into work, and I became as skilled as quickly as possible. Now, it was around the 60-day mark that I started to realize that my motivation for doing this, it has to it has to it has to come from within. It started off as external motivation in terms of, like trying to be attractive to that girl you like. However, after a certain period of time, you quickly come to the realization that it needs to be bigger than that. It isn't sustainable, because if your motivation stayed in the external, any little event could tip you over the edge. Like say that someone rejects you. Oh, bam. It obviously doesn't work, so I'm kind of wasting my time. However, to stop that from happening, like it has to be something personal that you're working on. Strangely enough, at the start, it didn't cross my mind that this could help me with my speech. It didn't cross my mind. However, in hindsight, I can kind of see, oh wow, like maybe I should have known that at that time. So, in terms of motivation, as you keep going on, it kind of becomes like you're kind of motivated to remain disciplined, and you are kind of motivated to try and see like just how far you can take it, because it's something that not many people have the discipline and mental strength to actually do, to be able to resist all of those temptations that are literally at a click of a button. So, about like 6 months to a year into my streak, I kind of started to notice that my speech, it started to improve. At the time, I put it down to an increase in confidence, and it was kind of like a side effect of that. Like, let's just say, if you're feeling a lot more confident, overthinking isn't such an issue, and also anxiety isn't as much of an issue. I kind of put it down to that. Like, it was kind of like I'm feeling more confident, which is why I'm able to speak without stuttering as much. However, as I got to a year and a year and a half, I kind of started to feel like, okay, something is different here in terms of my brain. I kind of had an intuitive feeling that say inside my brain, like say that there was a neural pathway associated with stuttering, and that was one that I would continually use, and I'd continually struggle over and over and over again, and it would make that neural pathway more and more strong. and it would make it more and more part of my everyday experience and my identity. And then after a while, I started to think, like, I feel like I am operating from a brand new neural pathway, in terms of it just feels a lot easier, and it just feels a lot more natural now, like speaking. And I can't help but think that as as the positive experiences were starting to compound, I was kind of getting a little bit of compound interest, if you will, on my speech. You know, I'd have a good experience, and that would reinforce the brand new pathway that is being formed in my brain. Yeah, yeah. I'm no brain expert, but yeah, I feel like I was developing a new pathway, and that's why I've had such a drastic improvement. Is because my brain, it was starting to heal. I feel that, like, with all of that stored up energy, it kind of finds things to work on, because, like, if you aren't expelling your energy every single day, the body is no longer in a survival fight or flight mode, in terms of, like, restoring the sexual energy, because it keeps on getting depleted. And once you stop doing that, like, the body, it kind of stops, and it kind of thinks, okay, I've got all of this energy now. I've noticed something inside the brain that isn't functioning as it should. You know, I can probably put more resources towards that. It's quite fascinating. But yeah, so I started out pretty much exactly like everyone else. Like, we all kind of start this practice, kind of looking for the female attraction, for the confidence. Oh, it would be good. It would be good to feel great. However, over time, it starts to become a lot more personal. I've noticed that if you have a condition in your body or brain, I think that there is a very high chance that can be helped through retaining your sexual energy, because it occurred with me in my unique way. My unique way was that I was a person that stuttered. I still am to a certain extent, but I can tell you right now that I wouldn't be here in front of a camera speaking relatively fluently and confidently, for that matter, if it wasn't for that. I mean, sure, I could probably make myself relaxed and kind of do it in a anxious and unnatural way. However, I am completely different. So that was a little bit about my motivation for beginning the practice of semen retention. And I started it on September 12th, 2022, and I haven't looked back. I'm still going strong. And honestly, I've gotten 2.5 years into it, and I'm just incredibly grateful that I was able to have that foresight at that point in my life to be able to actually take the plunge and begin the journey of self-discovery, because like you will discover yourself, and a lot of things in your life that were previously unclear to you, it'll all become clear because you are just full of life. And it is a beautiful thing to be full of life, and to be full of energy. So I hope you enjoyed the video.